This is Justin Tripp. We have a special training call today from a very good friend of mine that is going to be going over some very in-depth recruiting. He is an all-star. Alex, are you on the line right now?
Yes, I sure am, Justin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, sir.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, I'm very fired up. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share some tips with the Alliance team. I get this question a lot from people is, Alex, how do I get someone started? What's the best way to get them started? And I guess, well, just is real simple. There's only two things that a brand new person needs to worry about. There's only two things. You always try to make it simple for them. And the first thing is they need to get their license. And then the other first thing they need to do is put a list of names together. So it's like two first things, right? So they need to get their license. They need to put a list together, a list of people that they know. Now, why would someone want to put a list of people that they know? Well, it's a couple things. It's really based on the question, do you want to make money sooner or do you want to make money later? And so the answer to that question is the reason why you want to put a list together. If the answer is sooner, then make a list. If you want to make money later or not at all, then don't put a list together. So that's kind of how I determine the importance of a list. Now, why put a list together at all? Well, there's a couple reasons. I always think that your sphere of influence, the people that you know, is really fuel to the engine of your business. And your business, what is your business? You're in the business of marketing financial products. Okay, you're in the business of opening up outlets of other people who market financial products, as well as helping people that you know with taking care of their life insurance. I mean, one of the most important things when you get started is, number one, am I covered for my family with enough life insurance and protection? And are my family and friends that I care about and love, are they covered? The last thing you ever want to have happen is for you to hear about an uncle, sister, cousin that passed away that didn't have life insurance. Then they had to pass the hat around the family. And when the hat came to you, you're feeling guilty because you're thinking, dadgummit, man, I should have let him know I was in the business and I could have helped him out, instead of having to, put your check in for $30 or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I think that is a very important reason to put a list of names, are people that you can help with getting your business jumped off with sales. But the other important one is we're in the business of marketing. We sell life insurance and we recruit and build to help others sell life insurance and let them have the opportunity to take part in this awesome business, in my opinion, one of the best businesses in the world that anyone could ever get into, right? Now, here's the thing with the list building process that I think that that when you go to a conference or you go to any hotspot and you talk to any of the big producers, and you ask them, well, what would have you have done different when you got started? And I guarantee you every single one will say, I should have started recruiting earlier. I should have started building my business earlier. And that's kind of fueled with from the perspective that, hey, do you plan on making phone calls and running appointments when you're 80 years old? I think at a certain point, a lot of the top producers, they're making great money, but every time they start in January 1st, like coming up next year, they start at zero again. So it's great they made $250,000 last year, but then as far as the IRS is concerned, they start at zero. And as far as their bank account's concerned, they start at zero again. And then they have to continue to do what they did last year to make sales for this year. The beautiful thing about building a business is being able to create an override income that's not dependent on your ability to sell, right? It's built on helping other people to take advantage of the opportunity that you've seen for yourself. And so that's another reason for building a list of names, because it's your opportunity to share this opportunity with other people and be able to start your override income. And the beautiful thing about starting your agency, okay, not just you as an agent getting started, but starting an agency is you don't need to be licensed to start your agency. See, so while you're getting your license, you can start building your agency from Jump Street, from day one, right? And I'll just use myself as an example, Justin. The day that changed my life was the day that Andy Albright called me in November 1999 and said, "Hey, Bo, I think I found it." And I go, "Andy, what is it?" Because I knew Andy from a previous business. And he goes, "I think I found the way that we're going to make a lot of money." And I was fired up. And he goes, "You in?" I go, "Man, whatever you're doing, I'm doing." And that was the day that changed my life, because Andy did not know that 2 weeks prior to that phone call, I was on my knees praying, "Lord, help me. I'm not making it. I need something. Please show me something that will change my family's financial situation. I'm in a job that I hate, that I'm chasing 70 hours a week, chasing the dollar bill, spending less time with my 3 young kids and my wife, and more time at work with the boss." And last I remember, I got married to be with my family, not to be with my boss, okay? And I was living a life of quiet desperation, looking for a way out. And the day that changed my life was the day that Andy called me. And that's why the list building thing is very near and dear to my heart, because had Andy not put my name on his list, had not given me the call to change my life and to be an answer to prayer, I don't know where I'd be. You know, maybe I'd still be in a cubicle farm staring out the window wondering, God, is there anything better than this? Is there any, it's like, man, how am I going to get myself out of this situation? There's so many people out there on your list of names, people that you know that are having that same conversation with God, praying, "Lord, help me." And now, because you're listening to this, you possess the answer to their prayer, like the answer to my prayer was answered when Andy called me up. And at that point, our business and our life changed, because it allowed me to flush my job. I was making strong six figures as a recruiter, executive recruiter, and within 8 weeks of getting involved with this, I was making about $2,500 a week. And a month later, so I was able to flush my job forever, be able to walk into the land of the living, take the red pill, reference to the Matrix movie, and become independent and free from the 9-to-5 grind of the work world where I was not in control. I was able to take control of my life. And I'll tell you what, dude, there are so many people out there that have that same prayer. How can I get free from what I'm doing? And it's kind of this mental slavery that we're able to help people with. So, man, if you need a better reason than those reasons to go liberate your friends from financial fear and financial slavery and from a job they hate, so they can really live a life of true prosperity, man, I think we got the plan for them. And the beautiful thing about it is they could either say yes or no, right? Now, a lot of times I run into this, and a lot of people, sometimes they think when they get involved with us, they think, well, I want to see how I do first. I want to see if I can make it in the business first before I show my friends. And when I hear that, I go, man, really? How are you making a decision whether or not this business works? Like, I always turn around. It's like, look at the man or woman in the mirror. How are you making that decision? Well, you called me up and, you talked to me a little bit about the opportunity. Then, I found out more about it. I got on the website. I saw a lead, and I went to a meeting, and I think it makes sense. And so this is what I asked him. I go, so Joe, if it makes sense to you, you think it's going to make sense to other people that you know, to people that you know? If it makes sense to you, is it going to make sense to people that you know? And how many people are going to say, well, no, it's not going to make sense to people that I know? They're going to say, well, yeah, it's going to make sense to people that I know. So why do you have to be the gatekeeper for them to make the same decision you're making now? Like, for example, Joe, are you asking a friend to evaluate the business and get in the business first and see how they do before you get in? They're going to laugh, right? And I got to laugh with them because it's preposterous. It's not how it is. And I go, well, why don't you give them the same fair chance to determine if this business is right for them just the same way that you can? In fact, really, Joe, the only reason why I have people out tell me that is they just want to know that this business works. And look, we wouldn't be the number one marketer for Mutual of Omaha, a company that's been around for 103 years, that does billions upon billions of dollars of business, if it didn't work, right? I mean, you know it works. I mean, we've got leaderboards. You've gone to the meeting. You've seen the top producers. We do about $100+ million a year. We've got 14 different major insurance carriers. We have our own insurance company that we started. And so really it's not really a case of whether or not the business works, is it? Well, no. I mean, you know it works. Really the thing that I think you're probably struggling with is, will it work for you? And here's the beautiful thing, Joe. Whether or not it works ultimately the way you want it to do for you, if you can find other people that it can work for, then you get to override them and you get the benefit. Now, isn't that a win-win situation where they can make a fair judgment on this business for themselves just like you are now? And all we do is ask them the question, are they open-minded and are they looking? And that's really the purpose of the list. So really, you don't have to really get started first, do you? I mean, we can just see who's looking out there and see if they want to be involved in this. And then you get the financial benefit from it no matter how well you do in this business or not. Makes sense? So that's kind of how we take that particular obstacle away from folks when they think they have to do it first. They got to be successful first. Okay, another one is people think that, well, I got to train my people. And it's like, well, Joe, I'm going to help you train your people. Obviously, if you're getting people started, you're not going to know much. And we have the entire system, the NAA system, the Alliance system that'll help them get started. Your entire upline team. We've got NAA University that'll help them get started. We have the local hotspot meetings that they can plug into to get people started. So really it's not an issue that you have to be the one. In fact, let me throw this on you. You have the chance to leverage your upline's time, talents, and abilities to help them get started. So why not have the top people that have been successful helping your person get started as opposed to you that are just getting started? Wouldn't you rather leverage someone who's already successful, right? So that's not really an issue, is it? Okay. How about the person that says, well, I'm kind of, I really lost a lot of credibility with my friends because, I've tried 10 different other marketing deals that didn't work out, and so, man, it's just going to be, I joined the NFL, the no friends left, no family left. And usually when I tell them that, I go, look, every opportunity is a new opportunity. You never know where someone's at with regard to, how they're doing. And in fact, let me just run by you the approach I use on those people that you think are people that will judge this business on your credibility. This is how I approach them. I say, hey, Steve, my name is Alex. I'm a friend of Joe's. And look, I was talking to Joe about some people he knew in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in fact, I own a financial service marketing company. I work with companies like Mutual of Omaha. And we were looking, I mentioned to Joe that we were looking for some people out there, and he mentioned your name to me as someone he thought was sharp, open-minded, kind of open to new business ideas. And so that's really the purpose of the call, just based on Joe's recommendation. Let me ask you a question. Does that describe you? Are you open and looking right now for something? And that's it. And so, Joe, look, I know you got a bunch of friends out there that maybe, they think that you're an opportunity hopper, but with that third-party approach, notice that I didn't even use your credibility at all, or your lack thereof, for your people. So there's a lot of ways around that. So really, those are the main reasons, Justin, that I ever run into people that are really reluctant to put a name list together. Oh, here's the other one. The other one is they're afraid of what their friends will think of them. That one is the one that cracks me up. It's kind of like, they're holding their opinion of their friends about them in such a high regard that it's like, man, first of all, your friends don't hardly think about you the way you think they think about you. They think they're always judging you when they don't even think about you at all. Okay? So I think, number one, I think you have an overinflated sense of your friends and family thinking about you. They really don't. Sorry to break the news to you. The other thing is, what does it matter what they think about you? You've seen an opportunity to provide for your family and friends, so how dare they judge you on how you choose to get financially free? I mean, do you judge your friends on the next job that they get? When they say, hey, I just left IBM, I'm going to work for Northrop Grumman. And so are they afraid of telling you that because you're going to judge them poorly? And it's like, man, why are you afraid of what people think about you? I mean, the only reason is if you couldn't pay your bills, would they pay your bills for you? That's sort of the litmus test. The only reason why you would care is because, you just have this overinflated sense of what you think they'll think about you. And I'll never let what people think about me ever hold me back from doing what I needed to do to secure my family's future. And it might be a hard attitude, but you know what? At the end of the day, you're the one responsible for your family's financial situation, not, the Joneses that live down the street, okay, that you're worried about what they think. Okay, so kind of let's put that in the proper context. Does that make sense? So anyway. So the next area is like, how do you put a list of names together? How do you really do it? And the first one is, who do you know? Who do you know that? Okay, and here's where the list building process really is one of free association. So here's kind of my ground rules to putting a list of names together. Number one, be more non-judgmental. Don't prejudge people. Just put names down. The object of this game is how many names can you put on a piece of paper. Okay, just free association without regard to whether or not you think they can do it or whether or not you think they're great prospects or terrible prospects or they're too old, too young, whatever. The idea is to put as many names as possible on a piece of paper. So that's number one, don't prejudge. Number two, you have to write it down. There's something magic about writing down names on a piece of paper. And don't put any numbers or anything. Just put their names down so that you have them. It's just documenting while they're on your mind. And I'll tell you what, gang, over the next 10 minutes, I promise you could probably put 50 names down right now in the next 10 minutes. And so let's kind of go through a brainstorming exercise by categories. Okay? So the first category of person that you may think of is close friends, like your Super Bowl buddies. And how do I define Super Bowl buddies? These are people that if you're going to invite people over to your house for a Super Bowl party, who would be top on your list? Okay, typically those are your buddies that you hang around. And in fact, they're probably the same people you talk about business opportunities with anyway. It's like, man, we should all get involved in a business, man. What do you want to do? Wouldn't it be cool if we had the ultimate company that we could all be a business together? Those are kind of the people that maybe they hold you in high regard. You hold them in high regard. You got credibility with them. They got credibility with you. They're like your close circle of friends, okay? So who do you know that are your Super Bowl buddies, okay? Next, I always like to use the advantage of my upline. Like, where do my upline team, where do they live? Who do I know around the people that my upline, like if my upline lives in Nashville, Tennessee, who do I know in Nashville, Tennessee that my upline could talk to? Okay, let's say I have his upline, let's say his upline's in Las Vegas. Who do I know in Las Vegas? right? And so those are potential people that your upline team can sit down with and actually meet face-to-face, okay? And there's a lot of magic when you have your upline meeting face-to-face with the people that you know. There's just much more of an attraction. There's much more of that interpersonal relationship that can be built by people that you know that are around your upline team. Another category are people, and this is a really great way, is to go to NEAHotspots.com and pull up the hotspot map. And on the hotspot map, you're going to have all the hotspot cities right in front of you. And just brainstorm, free association. Who do I know in Louisville, Kentucky? Who do I know in Nashville, North Carolina? Who do I know in San Antonio, Texas? Who do I know in Rancho Cucamonga, California? Who do I know in Seal Beach, California? Who do I know in Seattle, Washington? Who do I know in Fort Lauderdale? Who do I know in Miami? And immediately, just write down immediately, who do you know? I don't care how you know them. I don't, again, no prejudging. Just write their names down. Write their names down. First name, last name, and where they're located. Okay? And again, the beautiful thing is it's just another way to brainstorm and free associate people that you know in those cities. Another quick way is your wedding invite list. Okay, your wedding invite list. For those of you that are newly married, man, this is a fresh list. And I'm not talking about the people that you actually invited, because your wedding invite list started out with 500 people that you wanted to invite, and then your parents said, you know what, we can only afford 200. Okay, so you had to whittle it down. Or maybe it's 150 and you had to whittle it down to 50. It's like, who was on your initial wedding invite list? How about this one? We're coming up on the holidays. How about your Christmas card list? I know my wife, she has a spreadsheet of all the people we send Christmas cards to, and that immediately are people that are close to you that you could put on a list of names. Okay? All right, how about this one? Relatives. Okay, you may or may not want to do this one. The thing about relatives is they've seen you at your worst. They probably changed your diaper. Okay, they probably burped you. Maybe they've seen you grow up. You grew up with them. Sometimes the credibility can go both ways. They've seen you at your worst, so they may not. So in that case, it's the third-party approach that I talked about earlier. That your upline just mentions, hey, they know you. They mentioned that you were talking with them. You don't say that you've gone in business together and you're going to tear up the world because of maybe what they think about you being a relative, but you can do that as well. How about people you knew from work, both past and present? Any job that you've had, who were the sharp people that you're always impressed with that you lost touch with? All right, people that you've worked with. How about neighbors? Past and present neighbors that you knew. How about classmates that you went to grade school with, junior high, high school, college? Do you know that 70% of high school graduates stay within the same hometown that they graduated from? That's a high percentage. So chances are they're probably going to still be in that same area when you look them up on either Facebook or online. All right. How about any post-high school training? You attended seminars and you networked and you picked up cards, you did some events or whatever, and you just collected cards and you networked. How about all those stack of cards that you've had? All right. How about former teachers that you've had in school? Or if you're a teacher, how about former students that you've had? Here's another great one, our class reunions. Like class reunions, what I love about class reunions is that you get a listing typically of all the people attending the class reunion, or even some that weren't able to make it, and you got their phone numbers and addresses and maybe what they're doing. Class reunion rosters rock. That's an awesome one. And if you didn't attend one, let's say you missed your 20th high school reunion or your 10th high school reunion, call one of your buddies and say, hey, Joe, you know who ran the high school reunion? Did they have a roster? Because I want to catch up with some folks. So call your classmate and say, hey, man, I need to get hold of that reunion roster, so you can catch up with some people. That's a great way to do it. College alumni associations, another great way to track people that you know. And then also people that you may not have known well in college, just because you have that association. Like I went to Air Force Academy, and I can call up the Air Force Academy grad. We immediately have that Air Force Academy connection that, they may not have known me. Maybe they're in a different class, but there's a credibility that they went to the same school you did. right? How about athletic teams? Teams that you participated in as an athlete, whether it's college, high school, recreational leagues, intramurals, maybe bowling league, golf leagues, okay, whatever, those kind of leagues. How about those folks, the ones that you participated in? And here's one. How about the ones your kids participate in? The parents of the children that your kids are, the teams that your kids are on. That's a good one. And how about people that service you? People that you sell to, like your clients, especially with the ATM that we have, that last slide that talks about recruiting slide, your clients that you sell to with now, and the clients that you've sold to in the past, and what other sales programs you did before, or people that you buy from. It could be your dentist, your doctor, your lawyer, your CPA, your barber or hairdresser, people that you do business with. Those are candidates to put on your list of names. Church activities, Bible study groups, your church directory of people that you know. That's a great way to, again, brainstorm a list of people. So your goal, let me tell you what your goal is, gang, is your goal is your goal is to ultimately have 50 quality names of people that your upline can help you with to expand your business. Because, look, we don't expect you to call these people right away. We can guide you and maybe on how to do it with some of your close friends, but the best strength you have is your upline who's willing to spend their time, energy, and effort away from their family, away from the other people in their business to spend time with you. So wouldn't you want to have your top people on that list, people that they can help use their credibility to help them join the business team, your business team? Wouldn't you want your upline to have the best people that you can possibly think of that we can bring into your business? And so here's what I mean. The top people that typically that we're looking for are people that at your self-image level and above. And I call those people your chicken list people. The chicken list people are people that you're afraid to talk to because you think, oh my God, they already own a business. They're so successful. There's no way they're going to listen to me. Those are the people that we want, the people that are already successful, the people that have a greater self-image. Okay, we want those people at your self-image and above. And we call that the chicken list. And those are the people, the prime people that your upline can approach with their credibility in the business or their upline, and get a hold of your top people. So my suggestion is, man, 50 top people at your self-image and above. And so how do you call out the top 50 people out of your list of, right now, you ought to have about 200 to 300 people on just your name list. Okay, so here's a way to kind of prioritize your top people. Okay, number one, and this is kind of the exercise that I do. If you have time, when you're sitting down and putting this list together, is I like to use the star system. And so what you do is you go through each name and you kind of put stars next to the one in these categories. So for example, I like to put a star next to people that are between the ages of 25 and 35, kind of the younger, energetic folks. They haven't had a lot of time in their career to get beat up by the world. They have a chance to maybe look at something with a fresh set of eyes. They don't have a whole lot of background experience to judge anything, and they're more open about their future and trying new things. They've got a lot of energy. So I like to put a star next to the names of people that are between the ages of 25 35. So I go through all those names and put a star next to all those. Then the next people that I put a star next to are people that are married, because people that are married tend to have a little more stability in their lives. They don't tend to go here, there. And, of course, there are exceptions to every rule. But here's the thing about exceptions, man. I never have built my business, and I've made millions in the business, on exceptions. I've always built my business on the high percentage. I played basketball all my life, and I'd rather take a shot from 3 feet doing a layup than from the 20-foot, 25-foot three-pointer range, because I knew I was going to make more shots closer than further away. And so this is what we're talking about, is who do you have a high percentage chance with? And so I put a star next to married people. And then I put stars next to people that are currently employed in a job. I know that they currently have a job. They haven't been unemployed for 2 years. Okay, I put a star next to those people. You're going to start seeing certain people start rising to the top. I like to, if I know this information, do they own a home? Because home ownership indicates some sense of stability. Okay, so I put a star next to the people that are homeowners. Okay, and those are kind of my main criteria that I look at. Are those 4 main ones. The other things that I like that I tend to do well with and that I like are people that have military background, people that have athletic background, particularly if they have college athletic background, people that have already been in sales because they've been in a customer service or sales situation before. So those are things I kind of keep in the back of my mind. But the stars I put are between the ages 25, 35, married, they're employed, they're homeowners. Those are just kind of the main ones. And what you're going to see is you're going to see some names have all 4 stars. And then you're going to see some names that have 0 stars. Okay? And so I always just start re-ranking them and giving your upline the ones that have 4 stars. And then the ones that have 3 stars and 2 stars. And just, start with those folks. And then also the ones at the top of your mind. When you saw the plane, you start thinking of people right away. And I would put their names at the top of the list because those are the ones that you kind of immediately thought of and you might even talk to already. That's the one thing. I'm sure a lot of you out there, after you saw the plane, start talking and sort of put feelers out. Why don't you let your upline talk to them and kind of take care of them there. So that's pretty much it on the list building. That's a good way to get started. And I'd recommend just spend a half hour with your upline and do textiling with them. That's one of the best ways is go do a conference call with them where they're either with you or you're talking to them, and then you can conference in the people that you know, and you can text them while you're on the phone with them, and then see who texts you back, and then have introduce your upline on a 3-way call, and those rock. Those are great opportunities to start showing the plan to the people that you know. So anyway, gang, that's pretty much it. Let me kind of share this last story with you to wrap this up, and that is the importance of getting to your people sooner than later. When I first got into the business, when Andy called me, he called me in November 1999, and immediately I started showing this insurance program to people that I knew. One of the first people I showed the business to was Noelle Leventovich, and she was jacked up, fired up. I knew her from a previous business, and she and Mike Leventovich just got recently married. You know, they were in their 30s and just got married, and Noelle was jacked up. She got excited, and so we all got in the business together. Well, January 2000, when all of us started, and Patrick Connors as well, when I got Patrick in the business, we all got started in January, and we all got on the leaderboard in January. At the end of January leaderboard, we were recognizing submitted production. Noelle Leventovich, and you can imagine Leventovich is not a common name, okay, except for maybe in Poland. Okay, I don't know if Leventovich is like Smith here, you know, but or Lee in China, but Noelle, her name was on the leaderboard in January, Leventovich, but Noelle's first name starts with a W. She goes by her middle name, Noelle, but her first name starts with a W, so it's W. Leventovich on this leaderboard. And she did about $10,000 of submitted premium. So Mike gets a call after that January leaderboard got published, and in February he gets a call, and it was a guy that was in his wedding. Okay, his name's John. And John calls Mike and goes, "Hey, Mike, hey, how's it going, John?" And so I catch up. He goes, "By the way, listen, I was just wondering if you had a relative in the insurance business." And Mike goes, "Well, why do you ask?" He goes, "Well, I started in this insurance program, this agency, July last year, and I noticed the leaderboard came out and it had a Leventovich, a W. Leventovich. So I was just kind of curious if you guys were related." He goes, "That's Noelle." And there's a big silence on the line. "You're kidding." I'm with, and you mentioned the agency back then, and Mike goes, "Yeah, she's with them too." And he goes, "Who did she get with? Who did she get recruited by?" He goes, "Alex Avian." And I actually knew John. He goes, "Oh my gosh." And then Mike says, well, why didn't you show it to us when you got in last July? And he goes, well, I just wanted to make sure I was going to be successful first, and I was making money, and goes, well, we got in with Alex and we're fired up, man, and Noel's kicking butt. I'm in licensing right now. And that decision that this John made not to put Mike and Noel on a list and not to call them cost him millions. Over the last 15 years, I've made probably about $4 million to $5 million of overrides on that organization. And because he wanted to wait until he was successful, he wanted to wait until he could establish his own credibility, he gave up $4 to $5 million the last 15 years. And the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's millions more. And so, gang, you've got people on your list that could be another Mike and Noel Leventovich, another Patrick and Suzanne Connors in my organization. You got people on your list of names of people just like that. So you get to decide if they're going to be on your leaderboard or if they're going to be on my leaderboard. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Justin, that's pretty much all I got. I hope it helped, and any other questions or anything, I'm certainly open to entertain.
Alex, that was great. I greatly appreciate it. If you're on the call and you want access to more great training or just to learn where more great training is, please contact President's Club at naleads.com or call our home office and ask for President's Club so we can point you in the right direction. Alex, that's all I've got. I really appreciate you doing this call, and look forward for much more to come from the leadership of the Alliance.
Rock on, man. Proud to be here. Awesome. Take care.